Hello and welcome to episode number 5 of Import Tutorial. This episode is titled CCNode Naming and Label Tips. So in last episode we talked about kind of variable scope. So local variables which are declared within a method, and then class variables which allows us to declare variables in our header file and access them anywhere within the class. I want to show you a little tip that Cocos2D has for memory management, and that's to allow us to get a sprite by name. To get a node by name. But I'm going to use just a sprite as an example. So if I build my project here, this is kind of what I get out of it. It should just be the background and the two labels. So I'm just going to add in a sprite. Again, I'm using the badge. If you want, feel free to add in your own stuff. So we can just do it here. Still have my method here for where we draw the start or the scene startup, and then kind of we just have the logic here for actually or the code for drawing that. So I'm just going to add this here at the end, and we'll say cc sprite. And we'll call it badge equals and all I'm doing here is just doing sprite with image named and giving it the file for the CP badge, which you can see over here. What we're also going to do is just position the badge. We'll position it at the just give it any random, so we'll say 240 and 160, and we will also then just add it to the scene. So how we're going to do this now is we're going to just add it directly to the scene itself. We'll say self add child. Now you see if it's automatically come up here. I'm just going to change this again. Add child. You can see there's two options. You can just add child normally. We can add child with the Z value, which is what we have been doing, and we're going to add child with name. So we still have to add the child itself, give it a Z value, so we're just going to say 2. Now here's where we put in a name, which is a string. We're going to call the name, it doesn't have to be the same as this, it can be if you want, just for consistency, or we can call it whatever we'd like, but it has to be something that we'll remember. So I'm just going to actually just call it CP badge. So if I build and run that, I should just build it, we'll probably build it somewhere down here since I'm building on the Mac. Yeah. If you're building this on iPhone, don't forget, because of position referencing, it'll kind of be a bit different. So I'm just going to go down here and I'll do create a new method. I'll say change badge. Whoops, my typing is all over the place this morning. Change badge position. Now how we get the badges, now remember this is the exact same as if we wrote up here now. So I'm referencing the sprite. This is the exact same as if we even wrote int kind of a number. We can't access a number down here because it's that's a local variable, remember, so it's declared within the method, it's declared within these kind of curly brackets here, so we can't access that. But using this cool trick with Cocos2D, it allows us to actually get the sprite by name. So what we do here is we have to recreate the sprite, but we'll actually reference it. So I'll deliberately give it a different name as well. So we'll say sprite, the sprite, whatever. Whoops, equals, again, just declare that, make sure Xcode knows that it is a sprite. And what we do here is we do self get child by name, put in the string here, and we'll say recursively, we'll just say yes for this here. So what we'll do here is we'll put in the name that we put here, not this, not the object name or the variable name, but the actual sprite name that we've given. So we'll say CP badge, just copy and paste it in. And what we'll do is we'll just for the sake of just to show that it's being called and it's working, we'll say, I was going to type the badge for a second, sprite dot position equals CCP, and we'll say 900 600, just dramatic change. Now what we'll also do, we'll go back up to where we just drew it, and we'll just do a form selector, and we'll just copy and paste this in, and we'll deliberately do it after 2 seconds. So build and run that. And there you go, you can see the sprite is automatically jumped up. So what we've done now is we've got the sprite, and we can use the sprite now, just like we've used it in here. We can use the sprite anywhere within this class as well. There's also a way, this is really important as well. Let's say you want to remove the sprite. So let's say void, see, I need to just think of something nice here. We'll say dstr destroy the badge, because if we had it as remove, you can see there's a lot of stuff there. And what are we doing here? Destroy the badge. So you can see that's just giving us a 1 because we got rid of that method. So what we can do here again is we can actually, I think we can just do self remove child by name, give the string, we'll say yes, recursively yes, and again we'll give it this. So what's actually happening here is after 2 seconds the sprite should basically just disappear. And there you go, it's gone. So that's the first time I'm actually showing you how to actually destroy a CC node. You can do that for any node, by the way. So you can see here we do the self. So when we do the self get child, I'll just kind of just put them both in here, for example. And just put them both in here. So it's probably going to give some errors here, but just for something, when you do the self get child by tag, you're referencing wherever you've added the sprite. So if we, for example, add the label, which I'll show you now, that's on the background. You will not say self get child back. You'll need to get the background. And what you might also need to do is actually get background by name as well. And then of course that's how you remove any node. So that's very important for when you're doing your scenes or whatever. And let's say after a couple of seconds you want to remove the sprite. Maybe you might want to animate and move it off screen. I'll show you how to do proper actions in next week's episode so that it will actually smoothly animate off screen rather than just kind of teleport. And that's exactly then how you can remove it. So I'm going to show you, let's say, we'll say, we'll add this to the background. Now if I do this, don't forget the background. So what we've done here is background add child, and we've added the badge. So the position will also be changed because the background is scaled, and you can see the node is scaled because it's scaled along with the actual background, and it has been added into the center of the screen because our points, don't forget, is 480 by 320, which is our natural resolution, and you can see that's why it's been put in there. So let's say I'm gonna actually show you how to move the badge. So let's do again. So let's do change badge position. Now normally what we'd have to do, so we'd have to do CC Sprite, and we'd have to say, I'm not gonna actually do it, but we'll do get the background. I'd say, sorry, background, and we'd do self get child, and we'd have to go up here, and we'd have to also then, from where our background's called, give it a name and call it background or whatever in here as well. I'm not going to do that now, I'm going to show you a different way. But once you get the background then you have to do background get child by tag and get the badge. So another way you can also do sprites is of course just exactly the same as doing a class variable. So you can do CC Sprite star background. Now what will happen is, or what should happen is exactly what I want. The local declaration background is kind of hide. So what all you have to do is just kind of where you declared the background sprite, just remove the start. So basically what we're doing is it's already declared for us. We're just saying background and then equals. So it's exact same here. So we're doing background equals this. So what we can now do, because it's already we can access it anywhere. So look, we can say background, we can change position, we can do whatever we want. So to get our badge, so we get the badge. We can even do something like this then. So we can say, actually I'm just going to change to get the badge because I'm going to mess around with it for a bit. So what we can do is CC Sprite CP badge equals background get child by name, which is CP badge, recursively is yes, and then what we can even do, and I'm getting an error. Why am I getting an error? Oh, okay, so that is why we always tell Xcode what we're doing, because that actually would not even produce a warning. So we should be getting an error saying it's not being used yet. If I remove this, technically it might not now in the kind of newer Xcode, but sometimes you can be able to not actually implicitly declare what the variable is or the object is, and it should run fine because it's a CC node, it's the descendant of CC node, and it should work. But yeah, there's a great example of always make sure you add that in before you actually say what it is. So what we can do is we can even remove it like this. So we can say background remove child, and you can see we can actually, rather than that, we can do remove child and clean up as yes. So we can say remove child CP badge. So we can remove it this way. So we can actually say remove child, and we can give it the node. Just say yes. So what we're doing here, sorry, I just kind of make sure we call the method here from the selector. But basically, we've referenced the sprite as a node. So we've basically created a new sprite. Well, we've created a reference to the CP badge by getting it on the background, and then we're removing it this way. So we're removing background, remove child, and we're actually passing a node. And cleanup, always say yes for cleanup, because if there's any actions being applied to the node or whatever, it will remove them from memory as well. Again, if you build it after 2 seconds, it should disappear, and there it has disappeared. So that's very simple of how we can use global variable or global kind of sprites and access our sprites in different methods and all that type of stuff, and how we also remove sprites. I also wanted to show you some other stuff that I've done. I'm going to just kind of delete it. We'll keep the badge in there, and we'll change this. We'll name the method whatever. But I want to just give you some label tips. I've created two new code snippets. I'll add them into the code snippet thread. But basically, the first one is to help you set up a label. So CC, I have a CC label, and you can see here we can set up a CC label TIFF, which is, you can see class label BM font, which is another type of label. But you can see here which has the two little kind of the icon that matches the code snippet library here. And I have a CC label or CC label TIFF underscore, I say TIFF TTF underscore setup. And when we do this, it allows us to set up our variable. So we'll actually just call it label. We have our string. We can go over here, give it a string. We have a font. Deliberately, I have a font set up, which the font here, or kind of the font I've already got pre-installed. If you want to install any other fonts at all, by the way, just search online for .ttf fonts, which is, I believe it stands for true type format or true type font. And find any, you literally just download them and then drag them into your project. Make sure you have a copy if needed, and you also have the 3 targets checked for Mac, iOS and Android, and just drag it into your font folder. And then all you do is copy the actual name, remove the .ttf extension, just literally put in the file name into this string here. So you can just put in the name here, and that will set up your new font. So anyway, we have our, so we'll give it a thing, we have our font size, so we'll say a font size of 12, and we have our dimensions, and that's really important. You might go, well, what's our dimensions? I have our background opened here in Photoshop just to kind of show you. For example, when you create a label, so you can create a label, select over here. As you click and drag, it's giving us a kind of bounding box or rectangle box for our label. You can see the width and the height. So that's 370 by 60 in the height. That's our dimensions in here. So if we said 370 and we said 60, that will actually set up our thing here. So let's just say, for example, we'll do hello. So we're going to try to get something close enough to that. So next is the next line here is for our alignment. So we have, don't worry what this, it says horizontal alignment, and you can see it has a CC vertical text alignment center. I was like, what the hell is that? If we just go back in here, you can change your alignment with text, just like in kind of format and any kind of Word document or whatever. The center, of course, we'll put it here. If we go over here now, this is where it gets kind of confusing. If you just, we can just remove a few characters here, it will automatically show us here. So you can see there's top, bottom, and center. The top will actually align it to the left. So top is left. So that will align it to over here. And then bottom is actually to the right. I don't ask me why it's named like that. It just is. And trust me, that's the way it works. So we'll just kind of keep it centered for now. So we'll change it back to the center. And you can see I haven't added in too much here, so actually I'm going to change this. I'm going to try create it exactly as is here. So we'll change the dimensions to kind of match near enough the font. So we'll say dimensions of 30 and the font size 30 actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make it 32, just make it slightly bigger. Then the font size, sometimes I get clipped off. So what we'll say is label.position equals CCP, and we'll add it here. So what we'll do here is, remember, the anchor point is always in the center of the screen, or in the center of the node. So when we've created, even though we've created our dimensions of this size, imagine this is basically a giant sprite. Our anchor point is still here around about the center. So what I'll do is, I'm going to find out round about here. It's 240 by 300. Okay, so what I'll do is, I'll say 240 by 300. Oops, sorry about that, my laptop seemed to have went. What we're going to just do again is we're going to position it, label dot position equals CCP, and we'll say 240 and 300, and we will just add it to the scene. So we'll add it to the background. So background, add child. We can give it again the name. So what we can do is add child label, set value of, we'll say 3, and we'll give it a name of header. So just say if you ever want to come back to it, say header. What I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. It's always better to, what will happen is sometimes Cocos2D will cut it off. So I'm going to change it to about 36 because the font size is 30. So that means we're going to have a bit bigger size to render, because that's basically a rendering box. So what happens is if it's not quite big enough, it won't even show. So if we add it in, it's up here, get hello. I actually added in there, sorry, when my laptop went, I added in the method get the badge. So what we can do is, I'm just going to remove the, I'm removing the original header label. There you go, it has hello up here. Now it still has the kind of header stuff. Now let's say we want to make it black. Wait, what I'm going to do is, because it's now 36, I'm going to just change it to 36. It's still probably getting about there, so I'm not quite sure. I'm going to change it to about 295 in position. It's just a bit too high up to, too close to the top there. But anyway, let's say you want to color it. I do have a new code snippet as well. It's called color node. And I'll give you this as well. So we'll just say label, and we'll give it a color. Now what you want to do here is, excuse me, so where it has color red, it has green, and it has blue. There's actually the same values here as these colors up here in Photoshop. So let's say, I know, we'll pick a random color over here. So we'll say, what will go really strong on this, we'll say red, kind of a reddy color. Now it's already there, but what I'm going to just do is I'm just going to say new there. So there's the red color, okay? So let's say we wanted to use this exact red color for our label. You want to look at these values, so 255, 8, and 0. So that's the red, green, and blue channels for the actual color. 255 divided by 255, so you want to always keep it as that. So change this first number here. So I believe the next number was 8, so we'll say 8.0. Make sure you put in the 0.0, and I believe this was just 0, right? Yeah. So the blue channel was actually just 0. So you're saying divided by 255. The reason we're doing this is because Cocos2D handles it as a kind of almost like a percentage. So like it's between 0 to 1, and you add in 0.1, 0.2, like to almost increment the color. This bit is actual just maths here, and what we're doing here is it's basically going to return that type of value. What it is, we give it the number that we want, and then we divide that number by 255, and we put in the 0.0 because it's the decimal. We want the decimal point value, so it's float, and it will return the correct value. So here it's going to return it for us here. So if we say build, we should get, there you go, a red color that pretty much matches the red color from Photoshop here. So that's our tips here. So of course we've learned how to like get nodes from other methods without having to necessarily declare them in the header file, just by using the .name. We've also learned how to use kind of coloring nodes. So you can use that on any other node, by the way, that code snippet. So if you look again, oops, just do color node. All you do here is just replace this node. You can even just do it to the badge, you can do it to the background, and that's going to be part of your homework, by the way. I want you to add in the new labels, or the new code snippets. Now of course they are added in here. So if we say color node, that's it there. And of course you can see I have color node, I have the summary, I have the shortcut which is color node, and there it is. And we also have the label, CC label. Now again, the reason I only have the setup label and kind of like this, so you can put in the string and then the alignment, is so that we still have to declare the position, we still have to give it, if you want, we're giving an outline or a color or whatever else, we still have to add it to the scene, but that just makes it setting up the actual label easier. If you want, you can add in the position and you can add in the node for adding it to your scene. Of course, remember to make it so that you can jump between the nodes. So for example, again, if I just go CC label setup, see the way you can jump between the nodes by pressing the tab button here, and it's kind of automatically highlighted. You can easily jump to it. To make them, remember, all you do is, and you can see when I highlight here, it's the same. So let's say you want to add in the position. We say, that's the way you do it. You just say label name with the thing, new dot position. It's not going to come up most likely because of it's not actually a CC node. and we say CCP, and what we can do here again is do the dash, just put X, and kind of the hashtag and finish it off, and the same again in the float. You literally just do, and then of course you bring that, you can add that into your code, and then that way then as well, the exact same, you can jump straight down into it with the easy edit. And of course do the same for the background change here to kind of parent, add child, and then you add in the label name, and you can even put in a temporary string here if you want as well. But so as I said, that's it for this episode. I want you to start messing around with it as well. So your homework kind of today is really just to mess around, understand the CCNode naming, understand what it means, that you're not actually you're naming the object as such, but it's not the actual variable name of the object. So you can name it whatever you want. I want you to mess around with kind of calling different methods to actually get them. I want you to mess around, maybe change the color of the background, change kind of the color of your labels, update the position after you call a method and of an existing sprite. Don't create a new one. I want you to create one already in a different method, and then call another method that will change position. And I want you to do that by kind of getting the child by the name. Don't forget, there's different ways you can do it, so be sure to go through the episode again, just pause it and see how I've done it, and get back to me in the thread. So that has been episode 5. Thanks for watching.